Welcome to the 10th episode of the Exactly Entertainment Podcast. As always, I am Matthew Lyons,
And I'm Derek Terrell.
and today we are talking about the latest Christopher Nolan film, Tenet. We're going to review the film, talk some spoilers about it, and then try to figure out what it was all about, what it all
What the
means.
hell happened?
Exactly. So, Derek, what did you think of Tenet?
First of all, that was the most confusing movie I had ever seen. And I'd like to preface this because I was a little upset going into this movie. Context, finally felt safe to go back to the theaters for the first time. I checked on the AMC website. They had safe procedures. I figured we're in school. I can go to the movie theaters. I checked the website. Oh, I get my birthday gift from AMC A List. I get, I planned on getting a nice large popcorn, large drink for free, sitting away from everyone else. We reserved tickets ahead of time. The theater was pretty empty. Come to learn that concessions are completely closed. So I was starving and I was very upset. And I said I was complaining during the entirety of the previous to you that
Yeah.
we couldn't get our food and drink because I was so hungry. And then we ended up getting Five Guys after. So that already was like all I was thinking about during like these big exposition scenes at the beginning is why I don't have my popcorn right now. So that did not help. But the movie itself, I liked it, but I just do. It was too much for me at once with the whole popcorn thing. But overall, I really liked it. I liked where it was going. I love smart movies, and this is one of the smartest movies I've seen. I have nothing but respect for people who can make smart movies like that. And it makes me question my career because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to make something that smart, but I will try. So, one of the smartest movies I've ever seen. I thought it was great. Don't know exactly where it places among the great Christopher Nolan films, but good. It was pretty good. Smart. Go ahead, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It was, I apologize for my dog barking in the background, but he was just really excited about Tenet too.
He was
So
really mad about the popcorn as well.
he was, yeah, especially the drink. That was just, it was a real low blow. The food and drink didn't bother me as much, and I had seen the film prior to you, so I was able to, you know, have some background information. And this is definitely a movie you have to see more than once. The first time, it is like it's white noise. And Christopher Nolan, one of the biggest complaints about the movie is that the soundtrack and the ambient noise and everything overtakes the dialogue. And that is
So
100%
loud.
true.
Oh my
And
god.
there's one
Yeah.
scene with Michael Caine. And as much as I love Michael Caine, brilliant actor, first of all, he's eating. And then there's like music and sound over it. And it's so hard to hear and understand. And the dialogue is like this. It's really
Yeah.
snappy dialogue. And it's incredibly hard to understand. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter in a way. And there's a line in the movie, and it was in the trailers: "Don't try to understand it, feel it." And that's what you have to do with this movie.
I was feeling it.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very smart movie, and it's to understand it, you have to watch it a few times, watch all the YouTube Tenet explain videos, and it's a really really fun movie. It's action packed, it's awesome. The characters are really great. And yeah, I really love this movie. It's not my favorite Nolan movie, but I it's not my least favorite either. I think it's one of the more exciting Nolan movies to see.
Yeah. I love a good like action movie with a Nolan twist like that, like an Inception or Tenet like this one. There's something about those that just like that's the exact type of movie I like when there's like these rules that have to be followed and there's this like big universe and there's all these different things that you like come to your mind because of like these different rules and the way that they our protagonists will use like the way they use the different logic and science in that world is just, like the coolest thing to me when they're like for instance, you have Inception where you can like go into people's dreams and whatnot, and the way that Nolan has our characters like use that in like a tactical way, like it's
Yeah.
normal to them. This is just their job. And like the way he normalizes to the characters these crazy, crazy ideas is like the coolest thing to me. And how like calm and normal going inverted and like cars flipping backwards are for like Robert Pattinson's character who's been doing this for a while. It's just so cool to me. Like
Yeah.
that's just like such great action.
Going off of the action, I think my favorite part of this movie was the action. The
Yeah,
fight scenes are
hands down.
amazing. Nolan has gotten so good at doing fight scenes since, like, if you look at like the first Batman Begins movie, it's crazy. I thought, I mean, John David Washington, the protagonist, he did all of his own stunts, and they looked incredible. Like
They
every
did.
time someone gets punched, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And the inverted fight scenes
Oh,
are so cool.
dude, I gotta like
It's
look
so
into how
cool.
they even did that. That's just insane.
Yeah. The way that everything comes together in the movie, the way Nolan likes to, have everything circle around and make sense by the end, it's so cool.
Dude,
And he once again makes time his bitch. He owns time.
he
He
does.
creates time. He manipulates time. He reverses time. He does whatever he wants with it, and it's so cool. It's so creative. It's so smart, and yeah, it's a really really good movie.
He's just so damn smart.
Yeah.
With oh, it's just visually, especially at that last fight scene with the buildings getting blown up
Hmm.
and coming back together and all that type of stuff is just so cool. What would you give this movie for a rating?
Out of 10.
Yeah, let's say out of 10, unless there's anything else you want to say in the non-spoiler section before you give your rating.
Um, I'd probably give this movie an 8.5. Hello.
Sorry about that.
That's
I
okay.
was trying to be discreet, but Hannah was talking in the background. I tried to mute
That's
myself
fine.
and tell
There,
her to
there was
stop.
a good pause,
All
so
right,
we
I'm
just edit
sorry.
that out. I gave it an 8.5.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't
That's okay.
want this to pick up anything. All right. So, do you want to? Where do you want to start?
I'll just say I give it an
Okay,
8.5.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I would give it an 8.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. I'd probably be around the same area. I want to say 7.5, 8. If I really like, but I would say probably an 8. I
Okay.
think I need to see it again, like you said. The dialogue scenes being overtaken by the music was just so tough. Like you'd think that someone would watch that movie and say, "Hey, maybe, like I don't know what's going on. Can we just mess with some audio levels here?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I need to see it again just to wrap my head around it now, knowing like how everything works, because it almost saves some of the explanations for twists in a way where it's like, oh, that can happen like that, but I don't want to say that because then you're gonna know that this happens. And um yeah, the things that impressed me most were how it did come full circle in many ways, how you see something when the character experiences at one point, and then when you see that it's given new context further on in the movie, and we'll talk about that more in spoilers. But 8.
It's a solid rating.
Yeah.
I think that the humor and the tone, the way it can be really funny at times. Another reason why you should see it again, anyone that watches it, is because there's a lot of like I said, snappy dialogue, and there's a lot of like really like funny, short, like jokes and lines that are delivered. And John David Washington was really funny in the movie, but when
Yeah.
he needed to be serious and dramatic, he did that great too. Same thing with Robert Pattinson. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
heart comedy to the movie, but there's some serious stakes.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's a great Nolan movie. The thing about Christopher Nolan is because he has such an incredible reputation to uphold. I think a lot of people went into this movie, expecting another Dark Knight or another Inception,
Hmm.
and I think it was, but it was. I don't think it was as good as Inception,
Right.
but it was still amazing. And like, if this wasn't a Nolan movie, someone saw it, they would be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
This would, if this was like a new up and coming director, this would start their career. This would be like a big movie for them. And
Exactly.
especially, I really wish that this didn't come out during a pandemic
Yeah.
because I think it also would have got more attention that way.
Hmm.
But I mean, maybe at the same time, no, because it's one of the only films that came out during the pandemic. So maybe this was good for it. It's hard to know.
I mean, in terms of box office, it's like just about to break even.
Yeah.
So it's not. Nolan
Well,
was
right,
trying to.
not box office wise, obviously, it's suffering box office
Yeah.
wise. But I mean, when it comes to like attention it's getting
Mm.
overall, I feel like a lot of reviewers are, hey, this is the only movie to really review that's coming out. So, yeah.
All right,
Well,
let's get into some spoilers.
let's do it.
If you have not seen Tenet, go watch it or wait until it's on streaming or video on demand. Watch it then. Come back here. Because this is definitely a movie you do not want spoiled. So, basic overview. We learn that the protagonist, who's named the protagonist, is not named in the film, he created Tenet in the future and recruited Neil. And basically, we learn that it's hard to explain. But if you've seen it, you know it. So, Derek, let's talk spoilers.
All right.
Now, what was your favorite part of the movie? And you can go into as much detail as you would like.
Okay. My favorite, like, when it comes to like scene or sequence, or when it comes to like aspect of the movie.
Let's do both.
Okay, so my favorite scene, it's hard. I really liked the second go around of the scene where he's fighting himself when you know it's him. I really liked that scene. Um, but I want to say my favorite one is the big assault on the at the end of the film when you have everything going on at once. The stakes are so high just because you know what is you know what's at stake. You have the inverted team, which was the blue team, I believe, and then you have the red team um, converging towards the same point. Um, that was just so cool to me. Like I was saying earlier, my favorite part about these movies is the way that like there are these worldly rules established, and then the way characters use that in smart ways. Like there's military operations based around this quirk that's in this movie, and that's just so cool to me. And that was really the peak of that. Not to mention how cinematic that was with a building blowing up, getting rebuilt, and then blowing up again. That type of stuff was just so cool. Seeing, you know, Neil trying to stop them from going into the bunker, like seeing that again and from his perspective, that was just some of my favorite stuff in the movie was that big action set piece at the end. But close runner up would be when he fights himself. Um,
That was
that,
amazing.
that was cool. Aspect wise, definitely, like I said before, I guess I kind of covered that already. Just the way the characters use the technology so intelligently and the way that the protagonist is thrown into it and the way that he's thrown back into earlier parts of the movie while inverted. So he's in that middle car that the suitcase gets thrown over. He is in the suit that he obviously fights himself. That stuff was just so neat. So yeah.
So for me, I
Mm-hmm.
as much as I think my close runner up would also be the inverted fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite scene in the movie was the opening scene
Yeah,
at the opera house. That was so cool,
that
and the
was.
way the music, like how they all lined up next to the
Yeah,
they weren't SWAT people, but I'm just gonna call them SWAT people.
yeah, yeah.
They were like lined up, and then they split up, and they were like running and going all around. When the people were knocked out, and they were doing a secret covert operation. I just thought that was so cool, and the music, like I was on the edge of my seat for the entire
Yeah.
sequence.
What a way to open a movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I kind of disagree with you personally with the ending. I
Really?
had like higher expectations for that. And
Really?
I think maybe it's because like they had such like a big area, whereas like in the opera house it was a lot smaller and it was a lot
Hmm.
more contained. I mean, I still loved the ending of it and um the like big battle at the end, but I had higher expectations. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with that.
I guess. Yeah, I just really was like fat like when the person gets like stuck in the wall because the wall like starts to
Mhm.
fix back up. That stuff was just so cool.
I wish we had more of that though. Like I
Yeah.
didn't really feel any true danger. I mean, obviously with the bomb, but in terms of like the opposing soldiers,
Okay.
like I feel
You
like we
you
didn't really
thought
see
like they
that
were
one.
just mowing them down like they were nothing kind of.
Yeah, and we
It
didn't really
didn't.
see, aside from the
Yeah.
person like stuck in the wall, we didn't really see any like
No, we didn't really
stakes.
see them face too much resistance. It was a very forward push.
Yeah,
But I feel like they had a good plan. So I mean, and they really executed well. I don't know. That didn't bother me as much as it bothered you, I guess. But no, I definitely agree with you. That opening scene was very cool. I love the feeling. I love when movies like this don't treat you like you're an idiot. You know,
right.
you go into it and it's like, I'm not going to say, we're on a mission to save this guy because of this, this,
Mhm.
and this. And we know there's bombs across the seats and that we have to defuse.
Yeah,
No, you're
you're
put
on a
right
need
in
to
there
know
and you
basis.
need to know basis. And when it's weird. You almost feel like respected when like the movie like treats you like, oh, like yeah, you're in.
You'll
You're
figure it out.
one of our friends. You know what's going on. Like you're just a part of the story too. You know, you're figuring out as these people do, and it feels much more. It feels very unforced. Doesn't feel forced at all. And I like that. The beginning was definitely amazing, and I see how it's your favorite scene, even though it didn't have too much inversion.
Yeah. So let's talk characters here. What were your feelings on the protagonist? Because I heard a lot of criticism about like, oh, he wasn't even given a name and he didn't really have any character development, and I think that's total BS.
Yeah,
I think I mean, it's close with him and Neil, but I really loved his character. Like in the beginning,
yeah,
like he was like a James Bond. He was
yeah.
exactly like James Bond minus the British accent.
Right.
But with the suits and the fight scenes that he was in, and like the one-liners he had about
Yeah.
like when he was at the restaurant and he was like, "Can you box this up?" Like I was
Yeah.
like, "No." Like the little things like that, and like his confidence at the end when
Uh-huh.
he was like, "I'm the protagonist."
Yeah. That was
It,
cool.
yeah, I completely disagree with that criticism. I think
Yeah.
he was a very well-developed character.
A very well developed protagonist. I thought he was great. Um, yeah, I liked him. I liked him a lot. Like you said, I love when like a character like I think he had great character like development and progression because he goes from this guy who's like scared and he doesn't get it and he's like he just doesn't understand. He's constantly being it happens so many times. He'd just get captured and they'd get him on his knees and they'd knock him out over and over again. He would get captured and you'd have guns pointed at him. And then throughout the film. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were multiple times where, oh, he'd be looking where he's not supposed to. He'd get captured. He'd get saved, or he'd save himself, whatever. But then at the end of the film, he's like mastered it. Like you
Yeah,
said, I'm the protagonist. That was just such like a cool way to show his development and also hint that obviously he starts Tenet and like in the future. But my favorite character of the movie was Robert Pattinson's character, Neil.
yeah,
I thought that Neil was so cool. I love the character that already knows what he's doing in with the rules that are established in that universe. Um, I love how there were a lot of good scenes with him. I loved like the reveal that like he knew the protagonist for a while. at
Hmm.
the end, and like he like worked with him for a long time, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna find out." And I like how he would compartmentalize information from the protagonist.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Um, I liked his little solo venture at the end where he's rushing in the like jeep as fast as he can, and
Yeah.
you know that was really cool. And the way like I like when a side character like that, or not a side character, but a supporting
Supporting.
character,
Yeah.
yeah, a supporting character will go off and like do like an important mission like that where he like uninverted himself and then like help them out. So yeah, I really like that.
One of the another one of my favorite scenes that I forgot to mention was when they had like the reverse bungee system and they shot
That was
out
cool.
onto the building and they had to like secretly take those guards out.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Like as
that
soon
was
as
so
I
sick.
saw that, I'm like, okay, Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got it. He's gonna be
I'm
amazing.
excited. I really like Robert Pattinson as an actor. I thought he was
Yeah.
great in that, and
And
I'm really excited. I'm so mad that that movie got delayed because I really want to
oh
see
my
it.
I can't even 2022.
Dude, that's
2022. That's over
awful.
2 years.
We're gonna be like long
Or
gone
almost two
from high
years.
school. We'll be like,
It's
yeah,
complete bullcrap.
that is awful.
But anyway,
Just thinking about
Robert
where our
Pattinson.
lives will be at that point is just tough.
Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor.
Agreed.
Everyone thought he was like a joke from Twilight, but time and time again, he proves himself to be a very unique, creative, different, and capable actor.
Yeah.
And he was similar to the protagonist in terms of like, humor and badassery,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a very different character from the protagonist.
Yeah.
And like you said, like he was capable, he could go on like his own missions and
Yeah.
I also love the way he compartmentalized like what he told the protagonist and especially like retroactively realizing that because he knew the protagonist, he had to be careful with what he said.
Yeah.
Um, he was a great addition to the cast, and he uh, was definitely one of the best aspects of the movie
Yeah,
for
I,
sure.
I I liked how he wasn't like a very emotional character.
Hmm.
Like I liked that about him though. I liked how he was always just like, okay, right now, like it doesn't matter how I feel. It's more about okay, this is the next step to get the mission done, and that's like what you need from a supporting character. A lot of times when you have a very over emotional supporting character, I feel like it kind of takes away from like the main character, what the main character is supposed to be feeling. Not all the time, but like it's nice to just have like okay, I can focus on the protagonists, like whatever's going on with him, and I know that this guy's just he's got his back. He's just trying
Right.
to, you know what I mean? It's like the Samwise Gamgee to Frodo. He's got his back. Like that was just really cool. That he felt like a proper sidekick almost.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
like
ironic because he's going to play Batman. But
yeah, but yeah, he felt like that made him feel like a really good sidekick to the protagonist. And
yeah,
I thought that was really cool. And I thought he did great. And like I said before, I love the character that understands the rules of what's going on. And listening to him explain things was like when I learned the most about what it was that was going on. And you know, like him, Tom Hardy's character in Inception, like
yeah,
characters like that, are like my favorite ones. In these types of movies. They always like I always gravitate towards those characters. I always like to know more about the character that knows all about what's going on. So
yeah.
he was definitely my favorite. What about the villain? Let's talk about the villain a little bit.
Yes. Um. So Kenneth Branagh plays this Russian guy, Satyr, and he was good. He wasn't anything like incredible. I wasn't blown away by the performance, but I thought he served the plot. He was good. I liked his dynamic with Kat and yeah, I mean he wasn't like a Joker or anyone that's like you'll walk away saying like, "Oh my god, that was amazing."
Right.
But he didn't take away from the film at all, I didn't think,
Yeah.
and he was good.
Did you buy the whole "I'm dying, so I want to take the world with me" thing? I thought that was I couldn't I didn't buy it at first, but once I got to know, oh yeah, this guy's like a real asshole. It's completely like a thing that he would do. I got that. But right away I was like, really? Like really, man, that's why you're gonna do this because you're dying and you want to take the world down with you. But once you get to see the man he is, it's like, oh yeah, he would totally do
Yeah, I definitely bought that, especially in the scene after Kat tries to kill him,
that.
where he says, "If I can have you, no one can."
Yeah.
And I really liked when he said, like, my biggest regret in this world was bringing a son or bringing a child into a world that I knew was going to end.
Yeah.
I really liked that line.
Yeah. No, I've definitely bought it like there. Like definitely towards the end. But when I think it was just like the initial like really like you know what I mean? Like you really
Mhm.
have to be like bottom of the barrel worst type of person in the world to like want that. And then when you find out that this guy is like worst type of person in the world, like bottom of the barrel,
Yeah,
complete like then you buy it. So yeah.
I didn't like when they go on like the I don't even know what the hell it was. It was like some jet ski big sail thing. I don't know. It was some water sport, and he was in like just a plain old t-shirt and shorts. Like when there's supposed to be this big intimidating villain.
Yeah.
It's it's not as intimidating to see him in like just shorts and a shirt.
Getting sunblock put on him and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. It was like
That was a little weird for me.
yeah, it was I thought that kind of like, took away from his
Like I couldn't help but laugh
ferocity
when
a
he
little
like
bit.
stands up and he's got like the unrubbed in sunblock like on his back
Yeah.
and he's like saying like this awful like this crazy monologue well
Yeah.
with like this unrubbed in just sunblock all over him. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a weird
I
choice.
and I did like how he like went back to that, last good moment in Vietnam
Yeah.
on the yacht with the wife. Overall, I thought he was a good character.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. What about the wife?
So, the biggest criticism that people have with Christopher Nolan movies in general is that they say he can't write female characters.
Disagree.
I understand where people are coming from, and I think that is like, I think there's definitely some validity there in like his earlier work, but I don't think it's that he can't write female characters. I just think he focuses on the male characters, and I think he has gotten, I feel like he's realized that criticism, and definitely like in Inception. And
Yeah.
I feel like Kat, she was a great character. She had a lot of um what's the word I'm looking for here? A lot of not personality. I understood where she was coming from.
Yeah.
She
You
was
can
a
definitely like see where she's coming from.
Yeah. And especially the line where she says like, I hate myself for considering the fact that I almost left my son to be free.
Right.
Like it shows that she's not a perfect person, but overall,
Yeah.
I mean, she is a good mother who's looking out for her
Yeah.
son.
It's he does a very good job in like when you see Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War, and you see Star Lord starting to beat the crap out of Thanos just because like Gamora, you don't really like buy it. You're like, you idiot, why would you do that? But
Yeah.
when she blows the plan and kills him, like I completely understand. Like
Hmm.
even though like it just like could have literally like screwed everyone, it's like I can't let him die thinking he won. Like I totally understood that. I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I agree. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying there.
absolutely. I completely agree with that. And she was a really great character.
Yeah.
And I like how like she didn't have like at the end of the movie she didn't like kiss the protagonist or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like I mean, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, Bloodshot. Like at the end, like I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure like he kissed the girl at the end. And it's like, didn't you like
It
just
was a
meet like 2 days
sunset.
ago or something? Yeah, over. Yeah, it was complete garbage. But and the
Yeah.
final
It
shot of
was
the
like a
movie was
sunset.
yeah,
They're
And the
on like a
final shot
mountain
of
cliff.
the that movie was just garbage. I hated that movie so much. Anyway, the final shot of the movie is with her and her son like walking off finally free. And I thought that was perfect. And it shows that like she was really the emotional core of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even the protagonist, he wasn't
Yeah.
even given a name.
Right.
And I like how at the end he had her back, but she didn't like have to depend on him or
Yeah.
anything.
I think
So,
like the character synergies, like the way they all work together was perfect because she
yeah.
had like handled most like the emotional stuff. The protagonist was strictly that, pretty much the protagonist.
Mhm.
And then um Robert Pattinson's character was like strictly the sidekick. And I
Yeah.
think like the way that like that structure worked really well, it didn't feel like any of the characters were like stepping on each other's feet like when it comes to like their role in the movie. And I think that's why it like worked so well. So, yeah.
Yeah. So to people who say Christopher Nolan can't write female characters, I disagree with you. Watch this movie. Um,
Yes.
so there's a theory around that Neil, his full name is Maximilian, but it ends in Ilian, and that backwards is Neil.
Right, because
So
that inverted would be Neil.
exactly. So do you believe that Max, Cat's son, is a mini version of Robert Pattinson?
I don't think this movie is going to get a sequel, so I don't think
No.
it matters.
Yeah,
But I think it's one of those things where it's like, sure, you know,
it
like,
doesn't
okay,
matter either way.
like, yeah, you can say that if you want. Um, I think, yeah, like, okay, that'd be cool, sure.
Yeah,
I don't think that it doesn't really change anything,
yeah.
so why not?
I
But
feel like if they had like one scene where like they gave each other like a longing look,
yeah,
but there was nothing.
no, because you're not supposed to interact with your other self, so maybe that's like part of it.
Maybe. I don't know. It like I agree with what you said. It doesn't matter. It's cool to think about that. It's just another like layer on the
Yeah,
Christopher Nolan Tenet cake, but
yeah,
it's not
which is quite the layered cake that is upside down and inverted
yeah.
and twisted and very confusing. And I left the theater very confused until I went home and watched multiple Tenant Explained videos on YouTube.
It's
But
the way you got to do it.
unless you have any closing thoughts, Matt, I think that is the end of our Tenant discussion and rationalization we had here, trying to wrap our heads around it. Hopefully, we helped you wrap your head around this movie even a little bit.
Perfect for episode 10 to be about Tenet.
Yeah,
It's all connected.
it is. So, if it was somehow inverted and then uninverted, maybe that means something about episode 100 because that's how this the logic is connected in this movie, and that's how it feels. It's very confusing. It makes no sense, and that's why they tell you feel it, right?
Yeah.
Don't try to understand it. And yeah, we'll leave you with that. So thanks for watching. Um, hope you enjoyed. This was Tenet. Stay tuned for more episodes, and don't try and understand it. Just feel it.